Hello and welcome to Waste Breakfast, where we'll discuss about everything governance, self-development, mental health, and of course, entertainment. My name is Gospity Israel, and I'm joined by my amazing co-anchor, Annie. Hi, buddy. How are you? How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm okay. I mean, I feel like today I decided to look very, very serious.
Yeah, tell me, what's today's vibe? What's today's vibe?
You know, I woke up, I've been wanting to dress like this since on Monday, to be sincere, right? So at first, I'm like, when I woke up on Monday, I'm like, I mean, I told you about the whole jump up and wake up and jump start kind of vibe. So I was already so tired, right? Yeah. And I'm like, I can't do this, man. Let me just go and look for something simple to wear. Moreover, I feel like, I don't know. You know, there's this Twitter saying that the last person that went to hellfire didn't close the door properly. So I don't know, the climate.
I've heard that saying.
What? You've not? I can show you on this planet.
Maybe
because
not. Maybe
truthfully,
not.
like, everywhere is hot.
It is hot.
It's hot, to be sincere. It is.
It's really hot.
So, I mean, I just woke up. When I woke up today, I woke up with the whole fan on my face today, and like, I feel cold. And I'm like, you know what?
Let me throw in the freezer.
Do you get? Let's do that.
I like it though. It's giving corporate baddie.
Thank you. I still feel like I'm looking too serious, but regardless, I feel like the topic of today is actually a bit serious.
Yeah.
It needs that serious kind of vibe.
Yes, it does.
How you feeling, honey? How you doing?
I'm great. I'm feeling good. Obviously, today is another great day. I mean, I did wake up. I'm alive, so.
So yeah,
that's that. Yeah.
I mean, but I still feel like we have a whole lot to do today. How do you feel? How do you feel about it?
I'm quite excited. Like, I just want to get down to the nitty and gritty of the topic. You know, let's get rolling. You
know, so yes, I mean, today we'll be discussing the topic, understanding youth mental health. You know, there's this saying that when it comes to the mental health, they feel like the Gen Zs are just being very lazy, or the youth in general are being very lazy. So yes, today we'll be discussing about that. But before we even dive into that intriguing subject, let's take a moment to catch up on the latest headline around the globe. Please stay with us. You're still watching Waste Breakfast. I'll be taking you on a captivating journey across Africa with The Punch, Nigeria's prime newspaper. The major headline reads, Reign of Terror, 165 farmers killed March, farm deserted as bandits demand 3 billion naira. 130 farmers killed in 4 Benue local government, 28 in Sokoto, sorghum production falls by 90% in Borno. Benue farmers lose 1.1 billion naira to attacks, Sokoto growers pay 3 billion naira ransom, 5 million naira paid in Delta. At the bottom right, federal government names 15 terrorism financials, business development company planned sanction. Dangote mobile telephone network, which is MTN, others lose 1.7 trillion naira depreciation. This was stated by report. Parties infighting, parallel primaries, wasting the Independent National Electoral Commission resources. And this was said by Yakubu. Adopted editorial asthmatic, family lament, Nigeria Union of Journalists demand release. Delta bloodbath, government meets Tinubu, National Assembly demand through a thorough probe. And above the masthead, 30 trillion naira loans, Senate uncovers fresh infrastructures, summons Cardoso. Representative to quiz minister, over $300 million in malaria loan spending. Lastly, shareholders excited as Zenith Bank appoints Omi Oji, first female general managing director. And that's all on the headline for the Punch newspaper. So the one that piqued my interest is the major headline as usual that says, Reign of Terror, 165 farmers killed March, then farms deserted as bandits demand 3 billion naira. So what the headline is saying to us today is about 165 farmers have been killed only in this March. 130 farmers have been killed in the 4 Benue local government, right? 28 in Sokoto. So this is, I really don't know what, I feel like this is a whole lot, and I feel like the governments are not doing anything about it. From the beginning of this year down to now, it has just been from one crisis to the other. We started this year with the whole kidnapping thing with the Ekiti monarchs, right? Then down to the hoodlums that looted the warehouses, right? Down to the 280 kids that was kidnapped, both the teachers and the workers in Kaduna. Now we are facing another one that the farmers, I mean, before now, the farmers have been wanting to go on strike. But now, with all these things that are happening, I don't even see, it is so much. It is so much. And I feel like the government are not even saying anything on this. Because, I mean, was it 2 days ago, we were talking about the fact that US had decided to give us a helping hand in taking care of this whole kidnapping thing. Till now, we've not heard from the government or from His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu about his intake on it, whether he's accepting their proposal or not. And this kidnapping thing is getting out of hand. It is. I really want the government to actually stand on their toes and start working. Yes. Let's hear your headline.
I agree. So I'll be moving away from the African continent as usual to an international spectrum, and I'll be taking today's news from the New York Times as usual. So for our first headline, we have little choice but for Putin to win huge. Election distorts scale of support by Russians. Below that, we have Trump unable to raise bond for fraud fine. We then have, with Gaza famine, eminent experts warn of rising death. We have Gambia moves towards voiding ban on female genital cutting. On the right side of the paper, we have court skeptical of state's claim on free speech, case on social media. And least but not last, we have our athletes truly employees. NCAA ideal faces big test. So obviously the news that stands out to me most today is the with Gaza famine, eminent experts warn of rising deaths. And why this stands out to me is because, as we all know, there's already an ongoing war in Gaza, right? Yeah. And so the total number of death tolls that have occurred already is 30,000 Palestinians that are already dead, and 10 of these Palestinians are minors, and then over 70,000 have been injured and killed, and 10,000 are missing. So with this issue already happening, I mean, it's already bad enough for you to come and say that there's going to be famine. I mean, these people are obviously going to suffer from food shortage, and it's just going to make the whole thing a bit more worse. Like, I mean, they're already going through the hardest time possible, and to add to that, now there's going to be a famine, and that's just going to add to the death toll. And it's just really sad to see that this is really happening in today's world and in today's country. And I just feel like we need to do more about it. Like, everyone just needs to help, whether it's by promoting, you know, spreading awareness, or just donating, just doing like the little bits you can. So yeah, I mean, if you know you can support, I feel like you should just go help and promote and spread awareness about this ongoing issue and this ongoing war.
Truthfully, I'm on that stance with you, because I mean, starting with the whole Gaza war and all of that, I mean, people that were killed, that guy that had to commit suicide in respect to, it's a whole lot happening there. So please, if you are on the advantage side of helping this person, I think you should please send your help or stretch forth your hands of help to them.
I mean, even just spreading awareness helps. I mean, anything goes
anything. It doesn't have to be a financial, it doesn't have to be material, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah. So, I mean, you've seen that a whole lot is happening globally. We're going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be diving straight to the topic of today, ready to shake the table. Please stay with us.
In today's dynamic global economy, small and medium enterprises stand as unsung hero, playing a pivotal role in driving economic growth, fostering innovation, and creating employment opportunities for millions. Now, according to the World Bank, 600 million jobs will be needed by 2030 to absorb the growing workforce. And believe me when I tell you that the SMEs will be the major employer. My name is Oluwadamilola Ibitoye, and I'm on a mission to uncover and reveal the stories of incredible entrepreneurs who are changing the game in the business world. I'll be sitting down with passionate and innovative business leaders as they share their journeys, challenges, futuristic plans, and successes. SME Chats, spotlighting inspiring entrepreneurs, one episode at a time.
Realistically speaking, there's no way you tell me that somebody, somewhere, somehow doesn't have an inkling of what's going on. In those villages, okay, fine, we say, okay, there are rural areas and all. Does it mean that they do not have security? You mentioned something about, okay, how long will it take them to get there? The truth is that I don't think those people even exist. Like the law enforcement agencies, I don't think they even exist in those areas, because how far away is the forest that they've taken 200 people into? That first of all, you can't hear voices.
You can't see footprints.
Did they burrow holes? Are they rabbits? Did they pass through holes that were burrowed?
No evidence.
Do you not have the topography of the area? I mean, security is rooted in abject poverty.
Absolutely.
Ethnicity, religious bigotry, and all of that. So until we address all of that, we must understand these root causes and find a lasting solution to poverty. Poverty, I mean, talking solutions, it's not about giving stipends of 5,000 naira as empowerment. It's not going to solve anything because 5,000 naira is going to finish, and then tomorrow they come back. They're back on the street.
Yeah.
If a policeman lives in the environs of where he's policing, these people are not strangers. They're your neighbors.
Yeah.
And then it drives home the point that one day it could be your child.
Of course.
Thanks for staying with us. Today we'll be discussing the topic, understanding youth mental health. Remember, you can join the conversation by either sending us an SMS or a WhatsApp message. And yes, call in to the number displayed on the screen. Yes. So, understanding youth mental health. When I first of all heard this topic, when I heard this topic, the first thing that came to my head was how do I put this now? The fact that the youth are not taken serious when we talk about anything that has to do with our mental health. So if I'm saying, I remember, like, let me give you a very nice example. In my house right now, if maybe I do something, right, and I'm like, oh God, I'm so tired, my dad would be like, what did you do? But the next thing he tells you is you like confessing negative things. Hey, it's a bad thing to just say, Daddy, I am tired. Let me rest a bit. So, you know, I just feel like when it comes to the older generation, their own is to stand up and just, Abi, how did you put that? They don't believe that there are times where somebody needs to rest. There are times where you'd be in a kind of state that there are times where you'd be in a, let me not say depressed, but I feel like depressed is a more stronger word. Yeah, you get in a state of mind where you want to just be on your own and be calm. So yes, our Bougie is with us. I don't know why she wasn't in with us earlier, but it's fine. Hi, Bougie. Hi, Joy.
I went to look for our guest because I know we can't have a conversation without our guest. I had to go and hustle.
Right.
Just go and look for him and say, but no, Lagos traffic. You people are not helping me.
Lagos traffic is something else.
Please, Lagos traffic. You need so many things from me. I beg. You guys should do better.
I mean, I think that's straight to the government, because I don't know what even causes this. Because now, it's VI and it's Lekki, and you are telling me that the road is actually good. There's nothing wrong with the road, but why is there traffic?
If you say it's the government that is on that road right now.
When it comes, if it's in my place,
You know why there's traffic? Because Lagos does not have good traffic regulations.
So even if they do, you think Lagosians are one set of human beings that are going to obey traffic?
So what do you think causes traffic?
I didn't say that, but I'm saying that we already don't even have good traffic regulations. So in the first place, I mean, like, what do you expect?
Right.
Like, what do you really expect?
So yeah, I mean, just as I was saying, we're talking about understanding youth mental health. And I was just speaking about the fact that the youth in this part of the world they are not taken serious when it comes to anything. Once you're talking about something that has to do with the mental health, so if you're like, oh, you're not in the right place of mind to do certain things, they're like, I don't understand. Can you not just do this and get it done with?
That's real.
Well, what do you mean by you're not in your right state of mind? What kind of excuse is that? So yeah, I really want us to talk about it so they know how serious it is, you know. So let's start from, according to the World Health Organization, which is WHO, half of all mental health conditions start at the age of 14, and 3/4 by mid-20s. Mental health disorders such as anxiety, depression, and eating disorders are common among young people. So which brings me to the question, is mental health a real issue or is just a trending talk? Let's start with you, Annie. What do you think?
Most definitely. Mental health is most definitely a real issue, and it's an issue that most young people, most young teens, or most young youths actually do struggle with. And here is why, because when we're talking about mental health, we're talking about like our emotional, psychological, and social well-being, right? And this literally just affects like the way we act and the way we behave. And I would say like in Nigeria, especially like when you have a country that is governed by religion and culture and certain things, like when it comes to mental health, like they just don't care to understand that certain things actually do affect people in a certain way. Like for example, I tell my mom, or back when I was younger, I'll tell my mom that, oh, I'm depressed, and she would be like, you're whipping up sentiments. There's nothing wrong with you.
You see?
Like, get over it. But what do you mean? Like, if I'm saying there's something wrong with me, like, I clearly feel a certain type of way, and I do need help. But, like, you telling me that there's nothing wrong with me, like, you're not helping.
Yeah.
You're actually just making it worse. And that's why I feel like most teens or most young people don't exactly, like, express, you know, when they're going through certain things. Like, they just like, keep to themselves, because, like, they're very scared of, like, what, people would say of like getting judged or things like that. So yeah, it's a very pressing issue, and I feel like people just need to be more aware of mental health and mental health issues, especially among the youth, because I mean we are the future of the country, so it needs to be handled.
So baby girl, what do you think, Joy?
Yeah, the future of the country.
Future leaders.
I say it's country, so anyways, I don't want to copy that statement. But then again, I think, to me, mental health is a thing. It's an issue.
Okay.
And it's not just about, oh, it's a Gen Z kind of tagline.
Yeah.
It's more than being a tagline. Now, the reason I would say that is because, I mean, times are different from the older generation.
Yeah.
We have a lot of things have changed right now, health-wise, medical-wise, emotional-wise, technological-wise, socially-wise. Everything is totally different. So the way things played out back then is totally different from now. Yeah. And when it comes to our health, we know that the kind of foods we eat, the kinds of things we do, the kind of stress we're meant to go through, most of the factors that just build up to distorting mental health. Just take, for instance, right now, Lagos traffic is messing with my mental health. So I would say that, yeah, mental health, because no, why would I just prepare for something and then just Lagos traffic is going to almost ruin everything. I was really so pissed yesterday evening. I produced a show and I was super excited that, God, this show was going to be blossom. It was going to be interesting. And because of what? Traffic, it's almost turned upside down. But well, thank God for the contingency plan that we discussed yesterday in 48 Laws of Power. I had to apply that, and then we were able to just mitigate the situation. But yeah, so the kind of environment and the season we are in is good enough to say that mental health is an issue.
So now it's not, I feel like we know that, okay, it's a big deal. Let's hear of the curses, because I feel like you cannot tell the older generations that, oh, mental health is a big deal when there are no curses, when they have not seen the issue that mental health has actually caused, or what has happened to those persons that are suffering from, let me say, triggers around mental health. Let's hear Oni. Let's talk about the causes. Let's hear you with the causes.
I mean, for causes of mental health, you have things such as bullying, you have things such as abuse, you have things such as addiction also leads to mental health issues. You have just things of like feeling worthless or feeling like unworthy or just like feeling out of place. Literally anything. I feel like mental health is subjected to like the person in question, because like that said person could be going through certain things that maybe like it's affecting them, but to another person it's like, oh, like, how is this really bothering you? So yeah, mental health is subjective to the person in question, and I feel like it could just be anything. For example, when I was at a place in my life when I was really low and I was going through certain things, like, I feel like what literally affected me was just bullying and feeling like insecure and just feeling like, oh, I was never good enough, or like I was just, or I could never amount to anything in this life, and just certain things, yeah. So that's, anything could literally cause mental health. I mean, anything could, just based on the person, yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Joy? What do you think?
So aside the beautiful points that Oni laid out for us this morning, there are also things like lifestyle factors that causes mental health.
Okay.
So lifestyle factors, yeah, lifestyle factors including diets, including health issues, including lack of sleep, including the kind of drugs you take. When I mean drug now, I don't just mean hard drugs, I mean medical drugs for health issues. So take, for instance, somebody who doesn't understand the person's health condition or health status and is somewhat feeling the pain or some kind of pain in the person's body system, and you just do a self-medication to go and take ibuprofen or something, right? It just ends up building something else different into your space, into your body system, and then one day or so you're just finding that you just can't reason properly again. You're just totally off balance. You're always thrown off balance, off track. So basically there are so many factors, but I think what we even need to consider majorly is a lifestyle factor, because it's really an issue that is staring in our face, but most of the times we just ignore it. That is one of those things.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've had the curses, right? Academic pressure is a significant contributor to youth mental health issues. The American Psychological Association reports that 61% of college students seeking counseling services cite anxiety as a concern, with academic pressure being a leading cause. Now, we've talked about the curses. Is there anybody we can actually pinpoint these curses that, oh, these are the persons that actually made this thing rise among the youth when it comes to mental health issues?
No, you can't see, you can't, there's no like root cause of mental health, right? So you can't just like pinpoint it to someone or somewhere. I mean, like, it's a whole build-up of different things. Like you said, academic pressure, like, that's also an example. Yeah, that's also an example. So, like, talking about pinpointing, oh, why somebody may be going through, like, this mental health issues, it's really hard to, like, point fingers, right? But what I could say is that the reason why it's so prominent and it's so, you know, common and it's just, you know, a global problem is because, like, I don't feel like people honestly pay enough attention to the whole topic of mental health and how it does affect the youth. Or mental health literally affects everybody, like, just not just the youth, like, even like the older generation. Like, I'm pretty sure like they too go through like certain things, but it's like, you know, to them it's like, more like, I was raised in a certain kind of way, so like shake it off. But like, yeah, shaking it off doesn't do anything for you. Like, it doesn't change the fact that like your mental state is still in a certain place of lowness or of worriness or, you know. So yeah, I wouldn't say you can pinpoint it to anywhere, but what I would say is that you could pinpoint it to the fact of society judges people based on their mental health issues, which is why people really come out and speak about, oh, how they are depressed or how they're going through certain things so they don't get judged. So I'll blame it on society just not being, you know, welcoming enough or understanding enough or caring enough in the whole mental health subject. Yeah.
I mean, that's it. I actually understand what you're saying, and I think putting that as, how do I put that now? When people start working on these things, it make it better. Truthfully, there's nobody to be pinpointed when it comes to blaming. What do you think, Joy?
So when you talk about pinpointing, I think I want to ask you, are you literally trying to say, okay, which of those factors, which of those causes can we point out to somebody who has suffered from it?
Yeah.
I think there are a couple of stories in Nigeria, a lot of stories in Nigeria. I'll take, for instance, the most popular one, the nurse that committed suicide, right? That is a place of a distorted mental health. Because in the last note she left before she left the world, left the surface of the earth, she literally did mention things that was disturbing her mindset, things that were disturbing her mind flow. And she said she's depressed, she's not seeing anything working again, she thinks she's a failure, she's sorry, she has failed her parents and family and loved ones and all the rest of and sort of things that she said. So that's a very typical example, right, of a distorted mental health. Now, I would say that usually everybody, especially in Nigeria, they tend to tag Gen Z to say, are you people on mental health? You guys are always saying your mental health is spoiled, your mental health is this, your mental health is that. However, I'm just going to bring it to the point that in as much as, yeah, we like to overdo, sometimes Gen Z, we like to overdo ourselves. But then again, can we just try to focus on the importance of that statement? Now, take, for instance, I go for a job application. I'm a Gen Z. I go for a job application. And you're telling me that I need to work 7 days a week. And out of the 7 days, I'm working 12 full hours with you. Are you joking? Like, no, I don't have a brain to think. Are you understanding that if I'm going to take up that offer, my brain is going to be working non-stop, constantly. And that already is a good point and good foundation to lay for me to start having mental health problems. So at the end of the day, I might as well just say, you're distorting my mental health, I'm not doing it.
You want to say something?
Yeah, I like to disagree with Joy.
Okay.
I like to disagree very much because she literally asks, is there someone or something you can literally blame or pinpoint as the cause to mental health? And the answer is really no, because every mental health problem is subjected to that person. Like the nurse, right? That same thing that the nurse was going through is subjected to her. You can't pinpoint a certain thing or like a certain person, like a certain group for like the general cause of like mental health issues.
So that's the problem. I did not pinpoint any group to her. I said that I'm trying to pinpoint the causes of mental health we've listed here to somebody that it has happened to. So that's what I did. So that's why I was saying that the cause of mental health that we can trace it to somebody is the nurse. That's because she was going through depression, and we stated here that the causes of mental health are depression, emotional
But the question was, who was to blame for mental health?
Okay, Gosbiti, what was your question?
Who was to blame for mental health?
Okay. I think I'm to be blamed for mental
No,
health.
because I hear you, but and I actually think there are certain persons that can be blamed for mental health. In as much as I understand the angle you're coming
to the
from,
person, yes.
Yeah, because I mean, look at children, for example, that are bullied, right? I mean, you also hear from the person bullying this person, right? So if bully A bullied B, for example, the B now is the person with the whole depression thing, with the whole mental issue thing. I mean, it cannot be pinpointed who is to be blamed for this whole thing that happened. The bully.
Yes, so exactly. It's subjected
I think it can be subjected to
person A, because to person A, the cause of his mental problem is person B, the bully.
So so I mean, I feel like it can be taken straight on. I feel like you have one or two questions I want to throw in, Oni.
Yes. So I want to ask, so when you do like go through like this mental health issues, right, what are like certain coping mechanisms that you use or that like helps you, get through like these hard times in your life? Like, what would you say really helps you?
Okay, if I'm to answer that first, because I don't know why Joy is looking lost. First off, I think for every person that is in this or mental health issue state, right? I feel like the first thing you should do is to look for a support system, right?
Yeah.
Look for a support system, because I don't think most people that have committed suicide would have committed suicide if they had a support system.
Yeah.
Right? So look for a support system. It's either you have a friend, speak to someone. Now, when I say support system, it's not by, oh, you have your mommy takes care of it. Nah, you speak to somebody, right? Talk to someone. I feel like the reason why most people are in certain kind of states is because they don't have who to speak to.
But can I add to that?
Okay.
You know, people, like I said, like Nigeria is literally governed around culture, religion.
Yeah, that's
and
the
whatnot.
problem.
And you know, certain people, like you said, like in your home example, and in my home example, it's like me coming out to come and say that, oh, I'm depressed, right? Or like let me just say that, okay, like I was bullied in school, or blah 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 blah. I mean, like you speak to these people, right? But it's like they don't hear you. They actually don't hear you. Like they don't listen to you. It's just like, oh, like you're whipping up sentiments, and like there's actually nothing wrong with you. So like the problem is that most people actually do not have who to speak to, or they don't know where to go to, that like they wouldn't get judged, or they wouldn't get put down based on like how they're feeling. And I feel like that's like the main issue, because if these people had people to speak to or places to go for safety, I feel like the whole mental health, suicide, even drug, because like you could tie all of this to mental health, right? Even drug abuse would be less common. It would be reduced. So yeah, it's just,
well, I mean, I feel like, if just like I used to tell you, like I said yesterday, when you want to work on something and you have a plan A, you should take it down to where? To
Plan Z.
Do you get? So if you don't have a support system, you should not tackle the problem yourself. So for somebody that is being bullied, you either talk to an upper authority or a superior, right? You just look for a solution to your problem. Now, since you know your problem, you see, the biggest problem a man can have is not knowing your problem. Truthfully, if you don't know your problem, then you cannot solve what you don't know. So I feel like it starts from knowing your problem. Now you know that, okay, this is what's going on with me. The way this person is speaking to me, I don't like it. There are ways to go with this thing. Even if the person continue, right? I mean, you should put it at the back of your head that this is actually short-lived.
But
How about we try and look at it from this angle to say that a serious life or a serious coping mechanism that we could look into is, first of all, understanding yourself. Know who you are. Try to understand your own personality. Get a good understanding of yourself. So if you do that, what's going to help you in achieving is, so whatever comes your way from the north, south, east, and west, right? You're already knowing that this is who I am. This is who I want to be. This is the kind of person I want to shape myself to be. So whatever is coming to hit me, I already know how I can tackle it, or how I can cope with it, or how I could deal with it and still be who I am. So definitely, there's always this platform of trying to blend into things, trying to blend into situation, especially when you know you don't have a huge control over it. I'd always say that for every situation, you always have a control over it. It might be very little, but guess what? That little effort makes a huge difference, especially in your life, because it reduces the gravity of the outcome that will result at the end of the day. So if you have a good understanding about yourself, you know the kind of person you are and the kind of person you want to be, it goes a long way into shaping your decision, shaping the actions you take, shaping the places you be. So at times, yeah, it's always good to speak to somebody, but you don't trust everybody in the world.
That's why you have other coping mechanism. Baby, please help me hold it. We'll be going on a short break, guys, and when we come back, we'll dive in straight. I mean, I feel like Oni has something to hit us with. When we come back, we're here. Stay with us.
insecurity is something that tampers with everything. It tampers with investors coming into. The reason why we don't have enough investors coming into Nigeria or pouring into Nigeria, irrespective of our growing and thriving economy, is because of insecurity. It started with expatriates. Expatriates in Port Harcourt and the likes, on the road they're kidnapping them and they're asking for their ransoms are in dollars. And then now you're kidnapping school children. Like, when is it gonna end? Are we ever going to have an end to this? It just doesn't make sense.
Thanks for joining us. If you're just tuning in, we're currently discussing on the concerning issue, understanding young people mental health, something around that. So yes, you wanted to say something, Oni. Please break a leg.
I have something to say to what you and Joy said.
All right.
You know, I kind of don't agree with that, because when you say tackle it yourself, you know, that is literally the beginning of the problem, because let's say you're able to do that, but most youths are not able to do that. And when you keep tackling it to themselves, these are things that literally lead to things like drug abuse or use of substances, because like these people don't really have anywhere to turn to, right? And like if they're left alone to help themselves and they have no one to speak about their problem to, they're going to result in many things like drug abuse, alcohol use, just different things. And you know, like a problem, you know, how spoken about is a problem how solved, right? So like you can't just expect that people out there are able to, like, you know, solve the problem like within themselves. People actually do need people to honestly like speak to identify the issue and to help with. So I don't kind of like agree with the point of tackle it yourself, because that has honestly led to substance abuse, because those are like some people's coping mechanism. That's how they deal with their mental health issues, when they tackle it themselves, which also leads to more mental health issues. So in that case, I would say that, yeah, some people are able to deal with it themselves, but other people aren't like that. So like that's just not like the best advice to really give like youths out there, because people really do struggle and people really do need help and guidance when it comes to mental health.
Yeah, I agree on that. Although I still feel like the best person that knows you is yourself.
Some people don't know themselves, and that's the issue.
That's why before you start taking care of mental health, I mean, mental health is still you. That's the thing.
Yeah,
it's still you. It's your mental health. It's your health.
Some people need
it's
help.
Your system.
Some people need help to understand themselves.
And that's why I said
you
talking
need to understand.
somebody.
Yes,
know?
not
so
tackling it themselves.
Yeah, no. The
So
truth
guys,
is, for you to tackle
sorry
yourself,
that I'm gonna
you
cut
still have to.
guys in.
I mean,
I understand that, yeah, a lot of people don't know themselves, but I think what we're doing here is, as opposed to stating it as a fact of know yourself, we're preferring it as a solution.
Exactly.
That you need to get to the point of understanding yourself.
Yeah, but that's a solution for you. We're talking about general youths. Most people don't have the ability
it
to do that.
It cannot be a solution for me alone, because if I do this and it's working for me, I tell the next person,
the people
that it works for you.
The people that ended up killing themselves, what do you think happened?
So the point is, we
are
not coming here to discuss things about ourselves alone. We're looking at the youth in general, and we're saying that, okay, you know what? Since we've tried other means, it's not working. How about we try knowing yourself for yourself?
So that's the problem. Like I said, people. It's just like me going to my mom now. Okay, mommy, I'm depressed. You're not depressed. You're okay. You're like, it's the same thing. People struggle with
that. And your mom says you are not depressed. You're just feeling yourself, or you're just working in sentiment. So you go back to the drawing table and you said, okay, so why am I depressed? Because of this. Because of this. Because of this happening. Okay, so how do you start tackling it?
You don't understand. I'm saying most people don't have the ability to do that.
But so how are you keep dwelling on the point of you don't have the ability and you just don't want to learn the ability?
It's not about learning the ability. Some people don't even have, like, you need to understand what mental health really is, okay? When you see someone in a bad mental state, then maybe you'll actually come to understand and realize that, okay, it's not just a do-it-yourself kind of thing.
Yeah,
people actually do need help. You can't just tackle it yourself. I mean, if that was the case, then people wouldn't be killing themselves. They really wouldn't be killing themselves.
That takes us to reshaping the perspective of what other generation think about us. Let's hear you, Joy.
Anyway, I have a question to ask on this mental health issue. My question is, people actually perceive the youth, particularly the Gen Zs, as excessively fragile, and overly sensitive. And my question now is, how do we reshape that narrative?
So you see?
So this is where I come back to you again, Oni. You want to reshape the narrative that they see it to be a fragile person, and you think they're going to speak to everybody, and the same person you're speaking to is still looking at you as a fragile person.
We don't need to reshape any narrative. You're allowed to be fragile if you want to be fragile. See, that's the problem. You think you need to reshape how the youths feel or how the youths deal with things. No, you don't, because we all grew up in different timing. I mean, if you're talking about reshaping the whole thing about the older generation thinking that like we're weak or whatever, like, no.
Are you saying there's no need for that? So how do we tackle it? I feel like
no, because it's not a thing of that you need to reshape the fact that like we're weak. I mean, we are literally going through things doesn't mean we are weak. Like, that's just how the older generation wants to think, but doesn't mean like it's necessarily true. And that's the problem when it comes to Nigeria. I mean, people just fail to understand mental health simply, especially the older generations, which is why it's a problem.
Okay, so do you actually still understand that even the millennials and the older generation have mental health issues, but the entire world, let me not use the entire word, they deal with it?
Because that's how they were brought up to be, and I think that they don't even deal with this, bro. They don't even have good coping mechanisms. That's why you see most of them sad
so what
and
facts do you have to
depressed
prove that,
and suffering.
What fact do you have to prove that they don't have good coping mechanism?
Their upbringing.
Yeah.
They push it away. Yes, they push it away.
When you talk about the fact that the older generation they cope with it, give us that intro. Like, how do they cope?
So they don't cope with it. Now this is the point.
They just don't speak about it, and that's the problem.
That's the thing. So it's not everything you think you want to just spill out.
Because they feel it's weak to speak about it,
and that's the problem. It's not weak.
You guys will have to calm down.
It's not.
Only way.
Now this is the issue. She's not always ready to just listen to me, but she wants me to listen to her. Which I'll now state it. It's not about being weak. There is already the fact to say that you guys are already weak. That point is staring literally at our face. The question is, how do we change that narrative?
Exactly.
Because guess what? I don't want to be addressed as somebody that is weak. I am a Gen Z. I have issues. I have things that disturb my head. Like I literally said today, Lagos traffic has been disturbing my head since yesterday. Now, I have literally said it now. Guess what? Tomorrow morning, you'll face another traffic. So it is here for me to come back to think, okay, I'm going to face this traffic again tomorrow. I'm not going to get a solution to it anytime soon. How about I look for a means that I'm going to just navigate it? That's the point.
Joy, how about you answer your question? Because you're talking about wanting to change the narrative of the older generations when they were not even brought up in the time of the youth. Because things that the older generation feels like, you know how they go through things, right? But they don't speak about it, because to them, if you speak about it or if you even show any signs of whatever feeling depressed, it's weakness. But we youth understand that like we're allowed to feel a certain way and we're allowed to express how we feel. And that's not weakness. That's not weakness, baby. That's literally being you and trying to get through life and trying to push through things.
Sure.
Answer your question, Joy. How do you change that?
Let me bring this back to your table. Oni, so this is it here. You know, you spoke about the fact that your mom, when you told your mom that, oh, I'm depressed, and she's like, something done, they worry this one, or there's nothing wrong with you,
you're whipping up sentiments.
Do you get? Now, how do we teach this person that no, mental health is actually a big deal, even when we know that they there are two things now.
No,
wait. No,
bearing in mind that your mom was raised by an older generation, because you've been dealing on their upbringing.
That's two different questions.
If you want raising us, is it not the same older generation? Because I don't get where I'm not being raised by Gen Z.
That's two different questions. Sorry, that's two different questions. You're asking, how do we make them understand that mental health is real? And you're asking, how do we reshape the fact that they think we're weak? That's two different questions.
She didn't say we should reshape their perspective.
She said, how do we reshape
their perspective? Hearing it for only on this set, because only doesn't need to hearing it to be hearing what you said. She doesn't hear me.
What she was saying is the same thing what your mom did. So it is more like, how do we teach this older generation that this is actually a big deal? So what I wanted to say earlier is, you know, you spoke about the fact that these people, this older generation, they actually deal with, like, they have their own mental health issues, right? Now, is it that they're living in denial and telling us that, oh, it's not big deal? Or is it that they know about this thing, they don't know about this thing, and they're like, baby, there's nothing like that, just keep it moving? So there are two things now. So which of do you think?
Okay,
this is in denial, or they're just
in denial.
Okay.
Do you know why they would literally bluff you up and tell you that deal with it? Because in their head and out of reality, they have dealt with issues way worse than what you think you're going
dealing
through.
with. Okay.
Bearing in mind that they had gone through this particular age of yours, the only difference is that they were not experiencing the same sort of things we're experiencing now.
Right.
Whatever it is we're experiencing now, let's get the facts right. It had happened then, but it is way gross and effective. Like, it is on the high level at this present age.
Yeah.
So the difference is that they knew how they were going to be able to deal with it. But now, coming here, I have a headache. Mommy, I am having mental health problem. And my mom is like, okay, what happened to you? Mommy, because I have a headache. And she's like, okay. I'm just using those for an example.
I get it.
So is it you're having a headache and that's your mental health problem?
Yeah, I get it.
So that narrative is already there that these guys are just children. They are just very weak. Small thing will happen to them now. They say their mental health don't disturb. So the question is, we actually face this thing to be candid and honest. However, how do we point it to change the narrative to say that if I come out tomorrow and I tell my mom, I have mental issues, she's taken aback with all seriousness. And she's saying, oh my God, okay, what's wrong? Do you want to talk? As opposed, don't worry, it's Gen Z. That's the point. There is that narrative there already. So how do we change that? Because you can't keep using upbringing as a factor. You are not being raised by a Gen Z. I'm sure you understand. You're raised by an older generation. That older generation was raised by an older generation. You would also become an older generation to raise another generation. So it's not about an upbringing thing. It's about now we are in the present state. How do we change it?
You need to learn how to rephrase your questions, right? Because
you need to learn how to listen.
Sorry, because let me finish.
No, you need to learn the act of listening.
Let me finish.
You need to learn the act of listening.
How do we reshape the idea that the older generation think that we're weak-minded? That's what she said, quote unquote. And that question refers to, how do we change the fact that they think that, like, we're just weak and like we just complain about everything? Like, that's what she said.
But
so
somehow that's what they actually think.
They see
us as
that's why I said.
You're not being serious.
No, see, that's why I said.
Sorry, I'm not
that's why I answered
sorry.
to Joy's
Sorry,
question.
I'm not asking you a question.
Joy, it's not your time to speak. Let's go.
That's why I answered to Joy's question earlier. But what I mean, like, you need to learn how to, like, rephrase your question.
Okay, no problem. Because then
if you ask me,
again. Okay, let me say the question again.
Please.
The question states, people perceive the youth, particularly Gen Z, as excessively fragile. How do we begin to change and reshape that narrative? That was exactly what I said.
Oh yeah, thank you.
But that question is
done. Oh yeah, let's answer it. Let's answer it.
No,
Joy,
let me help her ask a question. How do we, put it up to the older generation that, mental health is not just a thing of we're being unserious or like we're playing, like it's actually a serious thing.
So how do we
That's
tell
what
them?
you should have asked. And how we tell them, obviously, is that I feel like it just comes down to, like, knowing, first of all, you have to, like, understand the kind of parents you have, number one. And then you need to just know how to, like, approach certain things and let them know that, okay, yes, like, okay, this is how you probably feel about so and so, but I'm not you. I am different from you. You need to honestly learn how to understand that, like, people are different and people go through different things. So I feel like that's the first step, having that, like, good base with your parents, like that good communication with your parents. That's the first step to, like, changing that whole narrative that, like, we're weak. That's the first step. That's it.
So, I mean, I feel like we've literally had an interesting conversation, to be sincere. So, if I'm to add to that, I'll just say, like, I feel like that's the major thing. If you have somebody to speak to, it is just very important that when you speak to people, I mean, how do you even say that word? When a problem shared is half solved.
No, a problem spoken about is half solved.
Now you're international style. Why in Nigeria here?
They're all right. Don't worry.
So yes, I mean that. I feel like when we speak to people over that over our mental health issues, we'll be like, with time we intend to, you know, become better. And reshaping minds of those persons is actually very easy.
Yeah.
Show them the fact of what has happened. They should see the disadvantages of what is happening to you. Then I think with time we'll be able to work this over. So yes, it has been an interesting conversation. I know for sure that you've learned a lot, because literally I have as well. We'll be going on a short break, and when we come back, we'll be diving straight to the book review. Please stay with us.
In today's dynamic global economy, small and medium enterprises stand as unsung hero, playing a pivotal role in driving economic growth, fostering innovation, and creating employment opportunities for millions. Now, according to the World Bank, 600 million jobs will be needed by 2030 to absorb the growing workforce. And believe me when I tell you that the SMEs will be the major employer. My name is Oluwadamilola Ibituri, and I'm on a mission to uncover and reveal the stories of incredible entrepreneurs who are changing the game in the business world. I'll be sitting down with passionate and innovative business leaders as they share their journeys, challenges, futuristic plans, and successes. SME Chats, spotlighting inspiring entrepreneurs, one episode at a time.
Thanks for watching us. I mean, it's not easy, right? So yes, you're in the book review segment, and you know, you see these two people. I really don't know. See how serious they are looking now. But I mean, the book to be reviewed today is The 48 Laws of Power. We've been reviewing this for 2 weeks now, and it's authored by Robert Greene. So I'll be taking the 31st law, which says control the options, get others to play with the card you deal. Now, what this is simply telling us is that give people the appearance of choice, and they will feel in control. Make sure both opinion or options benefit you, right? Now, to be in power is by giving people meaningful choice. Sharply limit their options to a few that work in your favor, regardless of what they choose. So what this thing is just saying is, for every time you are in a space of, you know, I feel like this is more on the professional angle. Even, I feel like it speaks to all round, but I mean, you have more power in the professional space, right? So when you're in a professional space and you are dealing with clients, it's important that in as much as you're telling them, oh, imagine you're selling something, somebody wants to buy from you, and you're like, original one, not 300. Fake one, not 250. You have to make sure that whatever choice that you're giving to them, whatever plan you're giving to them to make their choice or make their opinion or choice, you have to ensure that one of those, both of them, you have your gain or your profit from it. So regardless of what they choose, you know that, don't worry, my money is covered, you know. So literally that's what Robert Greene is telling us. In as much as you're playing games, in as much as you're working, or in as much as you're giving your clients this amount of free space to do what they want, you should ensure that those things you're giving to them, you still have your profit from each and every one of them. Let's hear you, Oni.
Okay, so I'll be taking the 32nd law, and that just states play to people's fantasies. You know, people avoid reality and the truth, right? Because life is hard. So don't bring it up unless you want to make people angry. So when you talk about playing to people's fantasies, for example, let's say I'm running for, you know, president or something. I'm trying to, like, you know, win over the votes of people. So obviously I'll play to the fantasies of, like, you know, the people in the country. For example, I'll say, oh, if I'm elected, better healthcare, you know, better this, better that. And that way it's like, okay, people are like, okay, yeah, I understand that. And like, they'll be more willing to, you know, like root for you or vote for you. But like, when you don't play to people's fantasies, then, I mean, like, what are you really offering people? You want to be a leader, but like, what are you really offering people? Yeah.
So, I mean, that's it basically. This 48 laws of power is just to teach you to have the power. And when you have the power, just know how to play around it. Let's hear you, Joy.
All right, so I'll be reviewing the 33rd law, which states that discover each man's thumb screw. Now, the law states that everyone has a weakness that can be exploited to your advantage. Typically, weaknesses are found near strong emotions, need, secret pleasures, or insecurities. Now, make a habit of finding people's weakness to explore the place of power. Now, how this law applies to me is that it's basically, I don't want to talk again because only we shall attack me. But
No,
I
I'm
try
done.
to
I'm
say,
done with the attacks.
this is the
Let's hear
same
you,
thing I just
Abeg.
literally finished saying now.
Done with the
Okay.
attacks.
There is this perception that Gen Zs are weak. They are fragile. They are, I don't want to use that word now.
A
'cause it's
whole
quite
lot.
heavy.
They think about
There are
it
a whole
with
lot.
so many
Now, how about you
negative
try
words,
to
you know?
exploit that avenue to say, okay, you think I'm weak.
But
Let
we
me
are
change
not.
that narrative for
Yeah.
you. Let me do something to impress you. Let me do something to make you wow. That place, I mean, that way, they will look at you. The next time you say you have a mental health problem, you are already commanding an authority because guess what? You're gaining attention at the spot immediately. Take, for instance, I am a Gen Z today, and there is no way I'll call some of my business partners that I've done some jobs with, and I'll tell them, you know what? I can't think right now. I'm having this block. I don't know. My head is jamming. Immediately, this thing happened really. Immediately, I had 5 different people calling me to say, what happened to you, Joy? What's going on? For crying out loud, I just literally said I have a mental health problem. Nobody saw me to be a weak person. Nobody saw me to be a fragile person because I have given that trajectory, I've given that projection to say that, no, I could deal with things. But this one is just a little bit beyond me, and I think I need help. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to be weak. But portraying it out there and then making them have that perception, you will not be in a place of power. Oh. Don't let them
true,
deceive you.
true,
You will not be in any place of power. So please, stay in the place of power. Read 48 law of power. Digest the 33rd law. And then, you're right.
I mean, so in finals to this, yeah, that's why I have issues with all of those hoodlums and kidnappers that are youth, because now you're spoiling the image of all of us that are sitting here. You're making it look like we are lazy youth. So this is down to say, go and read the 48 laws of power. It enables you to be in power, stay in power, and remain in power, you know what power is about, how to play around it, really, you know. So yes, go and read it. It's important. So, I mean, today has been an interesting one. As we wrap up this enlightening talk, it has big thanks to all our viewers out there. Thank you so much for tuning in. And my baby girls here. Oh, your today's table shaked, and I love it. Today's conversation was really enlightening and yes, very enjoyable. Join us again tomorrow for another awesome discussion, packed with even more insight and entertainment. And do not forget to catch the Waste Prime Time at 8 p.m. We have wisdom and fun. I keep saying it, collide to light up your world. So yes, from me and my awesome buddies, it's goodbye for now. We can't wait to chat with you again soon. Until then, stay informed, stay curious, stay inspired, and stay tuned. See you tomorrow. Bye.